Um, the other woman that played Paula Small on home movies, I forget her name, but she was like a writer on Conan, I believe. And she also did some stand up. She wasn't very good, if I'm going to be honest. And it's with all the love in the world because I love her as a voice actress. As I love her as Paula, but like, yeah, she's not a very good stand up. Um, so anyways, going back to this Herbie Perlman guy. Holy cow! He's got a bajillion videos, and half of them are like uh public access shows.
Public access is something that exists right now. Like, who is there still a cable station that has like if you get cable TV, do you get a local public access station? That's
TV
crazy if that's really still a thing. I should put my shit on public access.
access,
This internet shit is gonna go the way of the dinosaurs for sure.
indeed.
Someday the biggest EMP is gonna drop. GoldenEye the planet.
Whoa. Okay. So apparently, I've also been misinformed that this that Herbie Perlman has not been found anywhere. Apparently, he's on. Apparently, Vice already found this guy in 2018. The
Okay.
first. So, what is this channel? What the hell is this channel? So apparently, this is like a Roku channel. It's like a
What?
yeah.
How do you start one of those?
You pay for it, much in the same way that By the way, another man that I met recently, uh, did a movie. He wrote a horror movie, a really really bad one at that. But
Yes.
I met him at a bar and he
And his
told
horror movie is on Amazon Prime or something.
it's on Tubi.
Yeah, how did he get that to occur?
He paid for it like 10 grand or some shit like that for the.
He paid to put it on Tubi.
He paid to have it distributed on Tubi. Yes, and
He paid to have it distributed. Okay.
yes. Um.
Interesting.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to. Like this is really bizarre. Um. Wow. Yeah, Herbie Perlman apparently started a random show listing, and according to Vice, this show was called "A Christmas Message from Herbie and the Maypole of Doom," and the description read, "Dick Cheney and Negrodamus celebrate in this family Christmas special." What in the freaking hell is going on?
I couldn't tell you. This is yeah. I should be on Roku. One of my projects, one of my things next year is the Everything Everywhere all the time project.
Everything, everywhere, all the time. Like, how do you mean?
It's me getting my shit on every platform possible.
Oh, that's an idea. Who knows? Maybe we'll turn this show into a Roku show.
All of my shit is gonna be on Roku.
Yeah,
Whatever the
you can
fuck
catch
that
us on
means.
Quibi,
I
and
will be. Yeah, is Quibi the one on the phone that you can
yeah,
turn sideways?
yeah,
That shit.
we have a 5 minute episode, so we got to keep this short.
Okay.
um, but yeah, like they do like 5 minute episodes of shit, and that completely fell apart. Which I sincerely don't understand why that or Yahoo were platforms. That made no sense to me. Like it was
Yeah, is Yahoo done being a streaming
it's
platform?
it's been done since Community season 5 or
Oh,
some
that
shit.
was the first thing that Yahoo did as a streaming service.
They did 2 seasons of Community, and and now they're doing the movie. which I'm really excited for.
What, they're really doing that?
They like as much as Dan Harmon like made it the running joke for the entire series. Apparently, he's actually doing it. He's got everybody back apparently too, including Donald Glover, which shocker. Like I'm surprised that cat came back. Although he was
Including
unable
Chevy
to get,
Chase?
yeah, I was gonna say he was unable to get Chevy Chase, which saddened the entire cast and crew.
It's terrible. Yeah, very sad.
I think there was a quote from Joe McHale that said, "Aw, Chevy's not joining us. Aw, that's too bad." Sort of a backhanded fuck you to him. But wow, I'm sorry. I'm still reading more about this Herbie Perlman guy, and I'm so excited to cover this because it's fucking bizarre. The man just talks, and it's almost like that type of person that just like loves hearing the sound of their own voice, sort of a thing. It kind of seems like that a little bit. And all this dude does is just discuss, like, he doesn't even have coherent thoughts. I feel a lot of the time he just
Okay.
speaks. It's like like an incoherent word salad that you could potentially you know drum up some context or like some understanding, but other than that, it's nonsense. It's pure unadulterated nonsense, and I've been fascinated by it since I found it. So thank you. I think this will be the first and last time in a long while that Paula Poundstone's heard this. Thank you for sending me down that rabbit hole. That's fucking crazy. I cannot believe that. Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
Like, I'm blown away by this. I had no clue. It's almost like the stuff with Paul Rubens and what's his nugget from the guy that played um Principal Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Uh,
I forget his fucking name. What is it?
I heard that guy was actually like a child pornographer.
Yes, he was. He was a CPer, and he
Not Paul Rubens though.
Paul Rubens got caught in the same sting.
For CP?
Apparently.
No.
Yeah, hold on. Paul Rubens uh sting operation. Uh yep, 2002. What was that guy's name? Rooney Ferris Bueller. Jeffrey Jones. That's who it was. He's the one who he basically like him and apparently Paul exchanged some pictures sometimes, and it was something along the lines of that Paul explained that he had the stupid shit about like the difference between art and CP, sort of gross stuff that like the
Oh,
lowly cons
yeah.
will
Okay, sure.
back up until the end of the days.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, like that was basically it, and that's how he got away with it. He had a better lawyer than Jeffrey Jones, basically.
Yeesh.
I know, right?
Kiwi, come on.
I know, dude. So it goes. But anyway, let's see, let me make sure I got all my goodies set up. So I'm actually going to have the intro properly playing this time.
Has it been not playing properly?
No, I just forgot to do it last week. Again,
Oh,
like
okay.
another reason why I
Whenever
like
we were last here?
um hmm
Whenever we were last here?
whenever we were last here in the Mojave, yes. But anyway, bud, you ready to start this?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Alrighty. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome in.
Yeah,
Good to see y'all. Good, and it's especially good to see you, Kuya. We had a
Tuesday it is.
brief break, last week, and that's cool. We're back at it right before the holidays. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be Thanksgiving this week, right? As far
That
as
is
I've,
correct.
if I remember
Thanksgiving
correct,
is going to occur in a couple days, American Thanksgiving.
it's going to be
Everyone will be stuffed with bread.
everyone's gonna be stuffed with bread and dried cranberries.
I got
Um,
some pumpkin pie in my
I
kitchen right now.
I am I want to make an apple pie so fucking bad. I fucking love apple pie.
I made cornbread. I ate more than half the loaf already.
Dude, I made a tin of biscuits the other
There
night.
was a lot of pot in it.
Ooh, potted cornbread. I like that.
Potted cornbread.
Potted cornbread. I like that. That sounds delicious. I
It
I
was
I
very succulent. There, I threw a into the batter. I poured 1 can of creamed corn.
ooh, that sounds delicious.
The resulting cornbread cake was incredibly dank and dense and moist. I'm
How
gonna eat the
about it?
rest of it. I'm gonna eat the rest of it as soon as we are done here, and also hot dogs and then pumpkin pie. I am getting fat for Christmas for
Okay.
for the winter. Hot time. I mean, you suggested maybe not hibernating. I've been doing my fair share of it, so we'll see.
I mean, reasonably so. It's getting cold. Tis the season, right? But
It
Oh,
surely is.
excuse me, I completely forgot to do our general thing. Again, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Thought That Was Weird. I'm of course Thrash Keishu, and to the left of me is of course the incomparable CuyaDK.
Hi, hi. That's me. I'm
that,
me.
that was the thing.
I'm still me.
Cool. um, but hold on, let me adjust something here right quick. And there it goes. That looks better. Um, so what was I saying? So we're doing Thanksgiving stuff. Are you doing Thanksgiving stuff with your folks? What's the
Yeah,
right on?
normally, yeah, a little
Right, little gathering with the
little
fam.
family turkey stuff, and
Killer. Sounds good.
I'll roll some joints, put some pot in the cornbread.
Indeed. Man, everybody's gonna get get wrecked on Thanksgiving, aren't they?
That's the idea.
Is it,
Wrecked and stuffed.
does your family imbibe?
Not really.
Hmm.
My parents they've been in a little bit of edibles here and there, especially if they're having trouble sleeping or something like
Hmm.
that. But my aunt will smoke a joint with me, and that's about it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but that is fun. That's
Yeah,
fine.
like
I would be happy if I was just smoking joints by myself.
um, yeah, it's just for a minute, like I was convincing people in the family to smoke for holidays, so I wasn't the only one smelling like pot when we and being red-eyed when we go to
Uh,
sit down at the table. But um, uh, I accidentally goofed my brother-in-law though, like really bad. Like
oh yeah.
he told me that he could maintain that, yeah, I've smoked a little bit, man. I could do this, and I'm like, like, and I'm here I am with my dab rig, and I'm like, bud, this is a completely, different ball game. Like, you're gonna be able to hack it. And he was like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm surprised he sat up for the dinner at all. So
Yeah,
I'm
sometimes,
yeah,
yeah,
I felt
that does
bad.
happen. Yep.
um, yeah, it was like me and my brother. We're like seasoned smokers, and yeah, he definitely was not. And he was just. I think that was actually like one of the first family meals that he had come over for, and
Well, good.
we toasted the poor guy, but he seemed to enjoy himself. His wife wasn't too happy. My sister was not too happy, but he was having the time of his life. um, but yeah, so we're doing that. Like, what's the usual staple for you? Just like turkey. You got your gobble gobbles and your cornbread, obviously. Like, what are the other sides that you usually bring?
I mean, pretty standard. You know, you got your mashed potatoes, you got the stuffing, that green bean casserole with the crunchy onions.
Oh, I love that shit. It's so
Uh,
good. It's my favorite.
oh, mashed potatoes with cream corn is something that we do as like a combo. I don't know if it's that's not really like it's not like either of those things is unusual,
Mm-hmm.
but in our house, the cream corn is basically the dressing for the mashed potato. You
Instead
make
of
a
like
little like you make a hole in the
little
cream
well.
in the potato,
That's
yeah, and you put
awesome.
the cream corn in there.
That's so
Um,
fun.
yeah, and the cranberry sauce, various breads and
Mm-hmm.
pies. Yeah,
Cool.
I don't think we don't do anything real. I'm trying to think if there's like something I've forgotten or anything unusual, but we keep it pretty,
Mm-hmm. Fairly,
fairly
traditional.
standard New
Yeah.
England turkey accoutrements.
I
Turkey and the mashed potato.
that's that's always good. I went to one family meal where they opted out for prime rib and people got pissed. It was
Man,
it
that
was fucking hilarious.
that sounds like it would be a nice surprise.
Yeah, a more pleasant surprise than like a and don't even get me started about the one time that somebody brought a ham.
Oh
That
my
was
God, ham on Thanksgiving is fine and good
I think
and
that's
normal.
perfect. I think that's
Ham on
perfectly reasonable.
Thanksgiving goes into our first category.
Oh, it goes
Fine
into a
and normal.
fine and normal. And of course, today we are covering the season 2 tier list. For those of you who have not been around for the other episodes, you will get a short glimpse into all the madness that we discuss on a regular basis. Oh, let me fix that. But yeah, we're going to. Whoa, that was weird. It kind of shifted.
Oh, did I change
Uh,
something?
no, it's okay. I can fix it.
I mean, I don't think anything.
It just it did a thing when I didn't want it to do a thing, but it's okay.
Okay.
I can adjust.
All right,
I'm
I'm with you.
flexible now that I know how to OBS and shit like that. Thanksgiving hams totally fine and normal. I full heartedly agree. Like, but tell that to uh the Italian family whom my ex's Italian family who were not were none too pleased. Like I would love to make it a joke about like nobody went what the what but that was actually what happened. Everybody, it's like hands were shaking and eyes were wider than tea saucers. Like it was nuts.
Italian people expect turkey
Well, they weren't like
or
they're just Italian
cannolis.
by blood, but they still maintain the mannerisms of the
They were very American. They were very
they're very
Italian
American,
American.
but it's like it was like The Sopranos, except in the
Had they all been?
Midwest.
Was this 2005? Had they all been watching The Sopranos?
No,
That's
although
okay.
I'm sure they probably did, but I don't think that's the reason why they acted that way. That's just the unfortunate uh, way they act when a ham is brought to Thanksgiving. Apparently,
Man, I would love a ham for Thanksgiving. I
mm,
had some ham today, and it was the free ham. I got a free sopping wet ham.
you got a slot. You got a rum ham.
I got a sopping wet ham from the grocery store at the cost of $0 from the local grocer.
That's
If you
lucky.
spend $400 over the course of
Oh,
either like the previous month or whatever, they present you with a sopping wet ham at no cost.
it like unpackaged, just like covered in
Yeah,
like the like the inside of the
The
packaging,
whatever the fucking ham preservative is,
the
whatever
ham
the
the thick ass ham
dripping.
juice. Yeah.
They just slap it on the grocery store counter, right on the conveyor
It
belt,
I can
and it's like, good luck with your sopping wet ham. That's what $1 gets you in America. Sopped and wet.
I just see like like a lunch lady lineup, just some
Yeah,
miserable like 70 something with a bucket, and it just says ham juices or something like that, and a ladle, and just like a assembly line, that one lunch lady plops the ham down and then slides it down, and then the other lunch lady just very like miserably just next one. Like, that's disgusting. It's a slopping. I just love the term
sopping
slopping
wet
wet
hams.
ham.
Two for the price of one. Three for the price of two.
Oh man, actually, my mother got our Thanksgiving turkey this year in the same manner. She spent like a bajillion dollars at a place we have
Yeah,
around here called BJ's. It's much like
yeah. You get
yeah, you get a little
over
something, something.
the month or whatever, you get points, and then they give you a sopping wet ham.
Mm. That it gets hamtastic indeed. Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh, so yeah. So by the way, before we even begin, thank you again, everybody. Big round of applause to Kuya for putting the tier list together. I sincerely appreciate you putting in all the effort to documenting all of our nonsense and
Yeah, look at
making
this
it look good.
delicious marbled ham. So shall we begin? Shall I begin? Shall I explain our tiers?
Yes, let's hear what the tiers are, Vanna White.
All right. So the tiers for the things we talked about during season 2 are the same tiers as they were the first time we did this. They are, we begin with fine and normal. A good suggestion, a good example of something that is fine and normal, I believe, is eating a ham on Thanksgiving, on American Thanksgiving. The tier below that is bad. That's our second best tier. Below that is very bad. Those are self-explanatory. If we have to go lower than very bad, we reach the level where mankind has failed. And below that is Just Another Room in the World, which is a reference to Johnny the Homicidal Maniac when somebody wakes up who's been kidnapped and he looks around and says, "Where am I?" And Johnny says, "Just another room in the world," which is right next door to hell. And what I always thought about when he said that line was not that it didn't matter where you were or you could be in any room. What I feel is represented by that line is that this world is full of rooms like this. If we were to really start looking at it, we would realize that every room is a room right next door to hell. And I believe that a good example of something that could go into Just Another Room in the
Oh
World
my
is
god.
this lady right here. Who's this lady?
Well, that is a famed socialite and potential coprophiliac. That's Blanche Monnier.
She lived in a pile of poop for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Supposedly sequestered away by her parents because of her choice of suitor, and this was back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
somebody was fucking around with Pooh. We don't know to what extent. We don't know how much she enjoyed being involved in this practice.
Mm-hmm.
But a house was filled. A house was found. Well, before it was found, I like the way I said it the first time. It was filled with Pooh. And if we were all to look around, we might realize that any room in this world
Every
might be filled
town,
with poo.
every
Every
town has a
town has
poop
a
room.
poo room. All right, so those are the rankings. That was episode 1 of season 2. Who are these weird aliens
Oh my
that we
goodness, I'm
have
trying to
next?
remember which branch of aliens that is, but that
Oh,
is.
I'm not. Oh, these might be the ones that end up becoming like brick walls, the colony
Oh,
guys.
Oh, these are the
I
colon.
think
The
so.
colony.
Or they might be the evolved form of the ones that were bricks.
That
Maybe. I could be wrong.
that could have been potential. Yeah, that's probably potential. But that particular creature is from a very bizarre internet uh, novel slash art project uh, done by C.M. Kozmin called All Tomorrows. Which which by the way, episode 2 of the Thought That Was Weird podcast is going to be this episode.
Oh, there
So
we go.
yep. So soon, and that'll be coming out soon enough. Whenever I want to leave the confines of my bed. But yeah, All Tomorrows. That was a
And that's on
bizarre episode.
Spotify
It
and
is.
other places.
Yes, yes, we are on Spotify and other places, YouTube, all that jazz. Um, but yes, All Tomorrows. That was the most interesting look at human evolution that I think I've ever read about, and this was all done by a man who is actually an anthropologist.
Ah. Now we
Actually,
had sort of
mm-hmm.
sorry.
No, I was just trying to remember like if that was the correct field, but
Oh, okay. We sort of talked about generally putting fiction items into fine and normal. And maybe if it's a piece of fit like I mean, I don't think I don't think I'm going to put upstream color in fine and normal. But
no,
I think what this guy is but speculating about human evolution, that's fine.
yeah,
And
no,
normal.
that's understandable. Like,
Yes.
the world that these
And
particular
it's neat.
creatures live in
Yeah.
is like petrifying, and I would say, man, in very much so the manner that mankind has failed. Um, but yeah,
Oh man,
no, but
I mean, I suppose
but
we
as
could reflect on the situation in the fiction. We should decide here
hmm,
if we're
it,
gonna reflect on what the contents of the fiction
let's reflect on the content because I think
describe.
that says more than the actual production of something. Like unless it's like
All right, so because literally, what happens in this story is that
it's
mankind has failed.
mankind indeed fails.
Okay, so we're gonna rank what occurs in the story when we're addressing fiction.
Yes,
Our next
I think
story
that's
is not fictional at all.
not well. Well, here's the thing: is
Oh, is it fictional or is it not?
there's speculation because
Uh huh.
apparently Doc Ellis he I don't know he had a mouth on him. He talked a lot of shit, and and this has been noted by like multiple people from this documentary that I had watched about this guy that he talked a lot of shit and he talked a lot about how great he was. He was very much in the sense a bit of a yoga master. He loved sucking his own dick about himself and what have you. Bit of a narcissist. Um, and the thing is that like there's been general speculation on whether or not because he would talk some bullshit like this, but at the same time though he was a very known user when he went on the field. Um, Beyond like him wearing Jerry curls on the field, or the not Jerry curls, he was wearing the curlers for his curls on the field, uh, as well as just being either hopped up on like some amphetamines or stoned or whatever. He took it all. But this gentleman right here, Doc Ellis, was well, per the story, was said to have taken LSD and pitched a perfect game of baseball. That is, I should probably
Yeah.
context here. Yes, he was a baseball player back in the 1970s. He played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was during his tenure there that he got into a lot of fucking trouble. Um, was considered to be like one of the most hated players in baseball, and uh, yeah, he just got himself into a world of trouble. And then it was noted in Um, More recent uh, animation of the events, uh, that he had taken acid and pitched a no hitter. He he apparently was unable to pitch the ball very well, hit a bunch of batters, but still maintained the no hitter, which is hilarious to
So,
me that you can get a no just by hitting batters.
yeah.
Why he was not taken out of the game for all those hit batters is beyond me. But what do I know?
Do you
Like,
think that a person should go to work on amphetamines or LSD?
I mean, I used to. I was a line cook.
So,
So I would say that's somewhere in the fine and normal to, like, I would say somewhere in the middle of fine and normal and
I
bad.
I don't think a professional person should go to work on amphetamines and LSD.
No,
I'm old
not
now.
amphetamines and LSD.
I'm old, so my opinion might be wrong.
No, I
But
mean,
I would prefer it. And I mean,
mhm.
if you're a professional baseball player, you're probably not going to affect my life if you go to work on acid. But I mean,
No,
most people,
but
I'm generally opposed to people
no,
being on acid outside of their homes.
and considering that you're throwing a projectile upwards of like 90 miles per
Oh
hour
yeah,
at
and he was
somebody,
throwing it at people. He hit
mm,
people with the ball on acid.
you can mess somebody up with that stuff. Like one wrong slip of the curveball there, you're whapping somebody in the head.
Now you'll notice that I said it's okay if you're going to stay at home and take acid.
Yes, absolutely. Or
So
like in your backyard, or maybe in a small wooded area where you feel
or
safe.
or in bed at the end
That's
of
good.
your life.
Oh yes. Oh indeed. Much
Yeah.
like uh, are you referring to this gentleman in the corner here, Mr.
Yeah,
Aldous Huxley?
what's he famous for?
Well, he is famous for novels. He's done a handful of science fiction books. He's a mostly known for the famous book Brave New World.
That's the one, right? Yes.
Yes. He
About taking drugs mostly,
it's
as far as
mostly
I
about
know.
taking drugs and being self-indulgent, and what happens when society becomes like that. And it has become the book itself has become a sort of um it's become sort of kind of prophetic in a manner. Like there's
Oh yeah.
especially when it comes to uh, 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 like genetically modifying babies when you're
Oh,
when you're doing
okay.
like test tube and
Okay.
you know incubation or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and neither was he,
Okay.
but he fucking figured that shit out. Like what Brave New World came out when? Um,
That's old. This guy was old.
yeah, this is like Brave New World is a really old book. It was published in 1932. And
Wow.
here he is talking about test tube babies and uh, the internet and the recognition of of um, sexuality in society and the kind of freewheeling allowance of it, so to speak, at least in this story. But what we talked about for the show, we had discussed Mr. Aldous Huxley here had uh, he was friends with Timothy Leary in his lifetime. And for those who don't know who Timothy Leary is, he was the man most noted to bring acid to American society, let alone the well-known Summer of Love hippie movement. Um, in which actually we all know that while we covered in the acid stories, we had a bicycle day, which was also
Ah,
included
right. Yep.
the Doc Ellis episode. We discussed uh oh goodness, now I completely lost my train of thought. I got distracted for a moment. Uh in the acid story, bicycle day. So it was actually no, it wasn't from the Doc Ellis episode. That was from the Montauk Project episode that we discussed the origins of acid and
Really?
MK Ultra.
That,
It was MK Ultra, I think we talked about.
that
Uh,
sounds more correct. Yeah.
yeah, the invention of acid. Um, yeah, it was on. It was a Belgian scientist, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He accidentally found it while trying to make a respiratory drug, and he got really goofed, and he uh, thought that the old lady that lived next door to him was a witch and was going to eat him. He freaked out so bad while at the laboratory while doing tests on himself with this drug that one of his lab assistants had to help him home and bicycle with him to make sure that he didn't eat shit. And it is that day that he had to take that long acid tripped out bicycle ride back to his home is known as Bicycle Day. For you little, soon to be deadhead stoner types, now you know what Bicycle Day is about and why you see a lot of like weird penny farthing looking bicycles on stamps of acid. Um, Even though he wasn't riding on a penny farthing, it was just a bicycle, but doesn't matter. Anyway, so Aldous Huxley here was friends with Timothy Leary. He got to, trip out a little bit. He really enjoyed it, and apparently, uh, according to Aldous Huxley's wife himself or herself, she said that upon like his kind of slipping away into the ether, Aldous turned to her and said, like, I would like to drop some acid before I go, just to, just to
I
kind of
believe
ease.
he said. I believe he said to her, "I would like to drop a ton of acid
Oh yes, it
before
was
I
a
go."
ton. It was yeah. He took a lot. I don't remember the dosages, but there was a
It was. It
lot.
was. It was. It was. Yeah, nonsensical. Yeah,
It was a nonsensical amount of freaking acid.
and it
Oh,
killed him.
well, I don't know if it killed. I don't know if it killed him. I don't think you can overdose on acid unless you can end up in so much shock from the colors that human beings cannot comprehend. Um, I, I don't think it
They
actually killed him.
figured.
I
You
think he was
think
on his deathbed, and
they
it just
figured
kind
he
of
was right about there? Like it's gonna happen within the next 6 hours, so hit him.
similar,
Right, that might be it. Well, just like they were like, he's gonna be dead by tomorrow, so let's dose him.
something similar to that effect. Yes,
Okay.
according again, this is all according to his wife.
Again,
Nobody,
yeah, who knows?
but again,
This was before everything was recorded everywhere
exactly.
forever.
And people just started believing stories like that story about Phil Collins and seeing the guy drowning.
Right.
I believed
Yeah.
it for fucking years
Why?
because I'm a
What a
nut.
silly story.
Yeah, I know. I'm because I'm fucking silly, and I you tell me it's fucking Friday, I'll fucking believe you. No.
So, TLDR, I think if you want to stay home, take acid and kill yourself. Wait, I think I'm not supposed to say
Nope.
that. Fine and normal.
uh,
I
oh,
think fine and normal for
TOS,
Aldous Huxley's
TOS.
behavior.
No, but no. If you're gonna like imagine to give a little nod to Mr. Jack Kevorkian, like if you want to go out on your own terms, go like in a safe manner, like and you're like on your way out anyway, like yeah, go for it. Like Aldous Huxley, he was probably had a day or two left, and he spent his entire day tripping balls with his wife next to him, which I think that's a perfectly reasonable yet wild way to go. Especially considering that the DMT in like releases when you die is supposed to
Oh yeah,
like
right.
supplement,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to give you that's apparently the explanation for like why people like see shit
A
when
tunnel and a white
the
light and
tunnel, white lights, so forth. Yes, it's the DMT releasing from your your DMT gland, or whatever. But yeah, so Aldous Huxley did a whole bunch of acid before he died, and then he went, and his wife still claims to this day that she helped him administer that. Yes. that was also within the same episode as the Doc Ellis episode. But
You know who this next guy is?
I'm trying to remember.
uh,
Who did we cover? Who was this guy?
this guy is from a video game called Y2K.
I've
I
never
remember
actually
you.
I've
I
never actually
told you
seen the
about
game.
it though.
You did tell me about it?
It's widely hated. It's like one of the most, for whatever reasons, there are so many things about it that so many people dislike wildly. Probably unfairly. It's one of those just, it came out and people were like, God, we hate this. So it's funny. So that's why our Y2K image is this guy.
Right on. Yeah, no,
This
I
game
had no
makes some
idea.
type of reference to the girl in the water tank on top of the hotel.
Oh, not Lisa Lamb. What was her name?
Eliza.
It was a Elisa Lamb.
Eliza Lamb. Um, the
Yes, that's
game
what it
notwithstanding, I almost feel like the Y2K situation,
was. Mankind has failed.
the panic, was it mostly just panic? Not a lot of people were really hurt, or was there any kind of
No, but
no
again,
kind
like
of riots or anything on New Year's Eve? But everyone panicking about bullshit.
yeah, pretty much. It was more or less like the only horrible things that had happened was like at least from what I remembered from what we covered, the worst things that happened were one, my family's home computer actually ate shit after Y2K.
Wow.
It was not Y2K
Well,
compatible. Yeah, it was weird. I was like,
not
this no,
Y2K compatible. Holy shit. That was actually a thing, huh?
that actually happened to our computer. It ate shit on Y2K. So again, but it was a CompuServe. It was a shitty computer. So what do you expect?
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, and we also learned that a baby was born, and because of a problem in the uh because of the Y2K glitch, it somehow changed the dates on a handful of newborn babies' birth years. So apparently they were born in like the 1700s or some shit like that. I think is
Oh,
what happened.
not even 1901 or
I think it was no, not even like in the 1900s. It was like somewhere in like the 1700s, and these
300-year
newborn
old
babies were like
babies.
300 years old. But um, I think that was the worst of it. And then there was also uh, yeah, it was just fairly minor things. There was a minor scare at a nuclear facility. Was that also Belgium? Am I just blaming the Belgians for
A lot of
just
shit happens. More shit happens in Belgium than they would like you to
then they would
know
like that?
about.
No, they have their own little kingdom and shit, and I can only assume that they still have knights and wooden wheeled carriages and shit like that. So that's
Uh,
probably why their nuclear facilities just fall apart. I mean, if I mean,
and also a nuclear facility.
but also a nuclear facility.
Yeah.
Yes, we believe in jousting and witches, but we also believe in the precious resource that is clean nuclear energy. How'd you discover it? Uh, Merlin came up with it.
Yeah, precious stones from over the hills,
Precious stones from over the.
the deserts.
um,
How'd you like? How did you enjoy Upstream Color?
you know, I haven't felt like this about a film since Requiem for a Dream. It
Okay,
depressed the fuck
okay,
out of me. Like,
gross.
absolutely unsettlingly disgusting. I felt
Just disgusting movie.
it was mostly that um the guru guy, the the assaulter guy. He was the who drugged the lady. That was
Mhm.
wild. And
Yeah,
then
this movie goes off. This movie starts off right with really gets right into it.
oh yeah, and then like the if I remember correctly, the guy that she like shacks up with, he was also, it was either the same
Yes.
cult or a very similar cult that.
No, they were both. They were both. You only see her abduction,
Oh,
but
they
it
were
happened to
both
both of
abducted.
them. Yeah.
I see. I didn't. I thought these were like two separate incidents, and they were trying, and they just somehow were, dealing with trauma together. But no. So this
No,
was the
same
same thing.
same thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know
Um.
what? I'm very sorry, but I gotta get some water.
Oh yeah.
So.
Please go right ahead.
Yeah, continue to ruminate upon
Oh,
upstream color.
I
What a
will glad I
gross
will
movie.
gladly continue
Upsetting
ruminating
and gross.
this ridiculous flippin' movie. Oh my goodness. Like it was like watching a person with trauma on an acid trip. It was the most unsettling thing I think I've ever seen. And I hate being that person that says, "Oh my God, this was so unsettling, and terrible." It was really good. Uh, but no, it was really petrifying. It was you felt everything in that movie, and including what these two people had to go through. It was scary. It was really really scary. Um, yeah, I really liked it though. I had a good time watching Upstream Color. Um, but I will say it's like one of those, much like your Requiem for a Dreams is, your Of Mice and Men's is. You know, I probably only watch it every, once, maybe every couple of years, because it's just that freaky. Um, yeah. Um, I'm trying to
Oh,
remember
freaky, there you are.
trying to remember who the director was. Who was the director of
Okay.
Upstream Color? Shane Carruth.
It's raining.
Oh, it's pouring out there.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a cozy rainy day tomorrow. Maybe that's part of why Spectrum Internet is being bad.
It got rained down the wrong way.
Maybe. Who knows? Who
It,
knows
it,
what the
it
hell causes Spectrum to. So
uh
anyway, yeah. So where do you think? So since oh man, I mean I don't know if the events in this movie are pretty bad and upsetting on a human level, but I don't think it points to the failure of mankind. I
no,
would say very bad. Although really the whole ring of kidnapping and stealing people's money in a very bizarre fashion
I would
is
say it
kind of
falls.
is pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it falls under very bad. I would say
Okay.
most definitely that that experience, and being privy to that experience in this sort of like voyeuristic manner was
Yeah.
freaking wild. That was really weird, but it was
Wacky movie.
fantastic though. I really love this movie. But again, like I was telling everybody, I think I would probably only manage like one watch every couple of years.
Yeah, it's a rough one, really. If you want to
Mm.
just feel gross and sick, that's
Mm.
just the movie for you.
If you're curled up in a ball because it's getting colder out there, this is the movie for you.
That's right, yeah. Uh,
Jesus.
was there something was there something questionable about the Toynbee tiles? Was there some kind of
Th-
political cultism or
there
something?
there is a little bit of potential.
Or is that only recently? Sorry to
No, that's totally
yeah.
fine. No, no, the suggestion by the documentary that covered this,
Ah,
I believe. Hold on, I got. You know what? I actually believe I might have notes on that.
okay.
Toyn.
Yeah, because I don't remember really. All I remember is that someone started embedding these tiles in
Yes.
concrete in pavement about resurrecting the dead. That's really I really don't remember a lot about this story.
So the story is that sometime in the early '90s there was a handful of mosaic tiles made like embedded into uh well, I shouldn't say embedded. It was somehow like
Well, they were embedded
they were
in
technically
pavement.
embedded. Yeah.
They were tiles that were pressed into pavement with, they used whatever the tar that the surface of the pavement is, you
Yes.
know.
Hmm.
They used paving processes
Hmm.
processes to embed these tiles in the road.
Yes. And on these tiles it said oh god, what was it? 20B in
One
Kubrick's
the
2000
idea in Kubrick's 2001, resurrect the
resurrect on
dead on
planet
planet
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the concept was there was a society of people led by what was suggested a pseudonym for a man who uh, was later found, and he was found out to be very mentally ill and very racist, and bought into a lot of
Oh,
what I guess our what a lot of contemporary people would say would be like right wing nationalist conspiracy theories.
okay. And
A
that
lot.
was the guy that they figured out was actually doing this.
Well, again, it's speculative at this
Again,
point.
we're not really sure. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Because and this was also said by the documentarian because like they had the evidence that it could have potentially have been him,
Mm.
but um let alone so did like the police, but they just never had enough to charge the guy with vandalism. What was even greater was the fact that this man in particular, who was apparently the leader of this like potential UFO cult that believed that when you die, human beings are going to resurrect on Jupiter
Right.
and bring forth the second coming of some sort. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, uh, the
Everyone gets resurrected on planet Jupiter.
everybody gets resurrected on planet Jupiter, and
That's the name of my next band.
everyone is resurrected on
So
planet
the
Jupiter.
pit. Everybody gets resurrected on planet Jupiter. Yeah.
Igapsha. Uh, but yeah, it blew me away that this dude got away with it for so long because you're sitting there and you got to meticulously place the tiles and whatever. Uh, from what I
He cut
remember,
a hole in the floor of his
he
car.
had a hole the same size as the
Yeah,
tiles.
and then the car would run over it as he drove away with the
Mm-hmm.
he would coat it with the tar or whatever. And I believe it was something where it was like I think he pressed the tiles onto a sheet of tar paper
Mm-hmm.
that once he ran it over and pressed it into the road, as other cars ran it over, it would wear off the tar paper and reveal that this tile was pressed
Yes.
into something like that. So like he could place it and not even it wouldn't even be noticed until I could be making part of that up,
I,
but
I think it was
there
yeah, it
was
was
a whole process. Yeah,
it
I
was a
was
thing.
fascinated by the process.
And what's really interesting also that I completely forgot is that these tiles uh it was initially found in New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then earlier sightings came like there was like a small like little tiny paper thing about it, a newspaper article about it back in the late 80s in Philadelphia. If I remember, it was either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Okay.
I always forget Pennsylvania city differences. Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh are the fucking same to me. I don't give a shit, even though I know they're completely different. Um, but these tiles were found very predominantly in like the if I remember again Philadelphia area, and was also associated with a late night call by one of these cult members saying the same sort of nonsense. It was I think they called Larry King, if I remember correctly,
Okay, okay,
and
okay.
told him that human beings uh, when they die will resurrect on the planet Jupiter, and that mankind will continue to prosper within its spirit or something crazy like that.
Okay.
But again, it was predominantly found in like the East Coast area, but these tiles were found everywhere, including
Yeah,
in places
South
in South
America.
America. Yes,
Yep.
places in South America. I believe Brazil. they were found. And and it just amazes me. It like this, and apparently the guy who was under suspect was a contractor for uh, some manufacturing company. I forget. I think it might have been even a train company that he worked for. And he just got all these free trips to go around everywhere, and he would place these tiles in
Yep.
the
Right.
countries
Right.
that he
Right.
would
Yep.
visit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Great.
again, they didn't end
Great.
up in like Europe or anything until like way later when somebody was doing like a copycat.
Right.
But
That's what I was saying about it. I feel like there were recent copycats and people
either there
doing
was
weird political
copycats
messaging.
or this
Or
this
he's back.
or even more interesting is that UFO cult that he was involved in. He somehow had some sort of status in the cult and made them uh, and made the other participants like do tiles within their countries because like even back in the 90s like we as we discussed with like the Church of the Subgenius, it's very easy to create a group mailing list sort of thing.
Yep.
So it
Right.
is very likely that the guy who started in Philadelphia got a hold of somebody in Wisconsin, said hey, go to Madison, drop one of these off, or one of his friends in Costa Rica, not Costa Rica, like Peru, like hey, drop one of these off in front of Machu Picchu or some shit. Like, so there's that's another possibility, but it was always suggested that it was just one guy in his car with a hole cut out in the bottom.
Yeah.
Uh, but again, that's the suggestion, and again, to this day, because the guy won't admit to it himself, uh, as well as the documentary didn't necessarily state it was
Conclude
this guy.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really conclude anything. But
So bad, very bad. You think it's okay to?
to vandalize streets, I think it's perfectly fine and normal.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the messaging is not fine and normal, but like as per the act, I think that's
We're not
perfectly
really
in line.
totally sure, really, what the messaging is. We're not sure if
Well, and again, we're
we
not necessarily
put
sure
it
if
in bad because some weird messaging ended up getting involved.
yeah, and again, I think
Okay.
it's because the again this UFO cult started saying this again. I
Taking
forget
up
the
the
name.
mantle, kind of.
Yeah, and again, it was it always had like these anti-Semitic undertones. I think was
Right.
if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, there was a lot of anti-Semitic shit about it.
That sounds right.
But so yeah, I would put
A
that
lot
in
of
line.
you, yeah.
But
A
anyway,
lot of you, for some reason, a lot of UFO cults tend to lean towards some type of, you know, master class. At least that's maybe the most gentle way I could put it.
no, that's
They
some sort
lean
of
into a
racial
lot of
superiority.
UFOs have that kind of cults have that kind of vibe.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I mean
We're
even
gonna be we're oh man, yeah.
oh god, what was
There's
that
I
thing?
feel like there's a quote from Half-Life about our I for one welcome our new alien overlords.
I think there was also something in a Futurama, like
Oh,
we will not give
probably the
in to
same
the
thing.
yeah no, it was something. It was
Oh, the brain slugs.
no, the president was saying that we will not meet the demands of the Urkin Empire and their violent ways, and then Lur from the planet Omicron Persei 8 demanded that not Urkin. Urkin is Invader Zim. Uh,
Right.
the Omicronians are the people from Omicron Persei 8. So the people from Omicron Persei 8 demanded somebody named McNeil, and they mistakenly thought that it was the president. And then the president changed his tone. He goes, uh, well, oh wait, no, he said, well, maybe we can give in to him. And then he said, then Lur was like, we're gonna eat the president. And then they're like, and then he's like, well, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. Maybe we shouldn't give in to them. Maybe we should actually fight this out and discuss. But yeah, I don't know why I'm rambling about that episode. But I take it we're going to talk about some really awesome slimes next.
Yeah, at one point last season we did a tier list of various blobs.
Blobs, slimes, and slimy creatures.
Cause I'm yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am particularly I'm afraid of blobs in general, but also the concept of blobs, especially when it's just a mass of flesh seeping into the house, consuming all the other flesh. Especially if sometimes there are people still alive in the blob. I should have gotten a picture from that movie Society. I we talked about it. Have you seen Society?
Yeah, we did talk about the one where the guy becomes an asshole or something like that.
Yes, the guy becomes an asshole. That movie.
If I were to generalize it, that's pretty much what happened in that movie.
That is one of the creepiest, one of my most nightmare. Yeah.
Mm.
I talked about The Shining and how I knew I wasn't allowed to watch a bear go down on a man.
Oh yeah, we talked.
But I knew that like what scared me about that is that I knew how much trouble I would get in if my
Mm.
parents caught me watching it. And that's how I felt about Society and Terror Vision. It because those
Mm.
were like sexy blobs. It was like orgy
Oh yeah.
blobs. And something about that of everyone's flesh melting together is so scary to me that since we're doing fictional contents, I want to put blobs in just another room. I think a room full of wall of melted flesh is one of my personal nightmares.
Hmm. Yeah, that I don't know. Just blobs in general freak me the fuck out. Like,
Blobs are fucking scary.
they're
Yeah.
weird. Like, and I think we also discussed Bologna ventricosa, the single-celled algae.
Like slime molds that can solve
It's like
mazes and
it
stuff.
literally looks like the slime that you get from frickin' Minecraft. Um,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was that picture, but I'll save that for another day to show everybody. You know, I'll just do it right now. You can
Oh
watch it
yeah,
afterwards.
weird. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Yeah, slime balls. Yeah, gross. Yeah, slimes and blobs. I am not down with. I would hate to be around a slime or a blob.
I think it was okay. Where's the man? It's not showing. Oh well. Either way, look it up.
Okay. No, I saw the image that you
No,
showed
no, no.
me.
I'm telling everybody at home
Oh.
to look it up. I
Oh,
can't I
okay.
can't get it to go right
So
now.
yeah, do you have any? Is there? Would you like blobs to be somewhere else? I mean,
I
yeah, blobs and slimes and shit go on the bottom. Go in just another
yeah.
room.
Not
Yeah.
a good time. I don't think for anybody. Um, no, I'm trying to think about what other slimes we covered in that episode. We covered the thing.
There's some bad slimes. There's the thing, slimes and blobs. There's Stranger Things season 3 is full of really exactly flesh blobs. I don't know if we talked about a movie called John Dies in the End.
I think we did for a moment, but I don't.
That one has a serious like pit of flesh blob, like blobs that are covered in mouths, like real cosmic horror blobs. Oh,
Mm,
we talked about one of and really so many of these blobs scared me as children. That I don't know, like I really like I had an innate fear of blobs, but there's a
mm,
Spider-Man comic called Hooky that just like bothered me so much as a child. I don't think it might be Jeff Darrow. We might have talked about Jeff Darrow in general. That
mm.
man can draw a blob.
Jeff Darrow.
Geoff.
Oh, I see.
Let's see. I'm typing in Jeff Darrow Hooky.
Looks like he's done some work for Hellboy. That's fun.
Yeah, he's a great artist. Oh my god. Yeah, I think Hooky was Jeff Darrow. Well, that was my introduction to Jeff Darrow and the blob monster in this fucking. Oh wait, no, it looks like I'm incorrect. Susan K. Oh, by Susan K. Putney.
Oh, Susan K. Putney.
That's the writer. I'm trying to find out who the artist on Hooky is.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, Jeff Darrow is a cool comic book artist,
Yo, check out
and
that. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing the blob
Hooky
here.
is
Holy
really cool.
shit.
Yeah, Hooky really bothered me
That's a
as a young child.
that's a hell of a monster there. That's super rad. Um, yeah, I don't think I
I don't think it actually is Jeff Darrow.
no. I was thinking about Doom Squad or Doom Patrol, not Doom Squad, Doom Patrol,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and like some of the shit I seen in that comic when I was a kid. Like, holy fuck, how I was able to get my hands on a copy was beyond me. Um, but anyhow, what we got? What we got here? We got
I mean, I feel
who's
like I might just not be finding the info. I don't know. It might have been him. Maybe I'll find out. Yeah, who's this next guy?
I would say this guy is the leader of something known as a cargo cult. And a cargo cult is basically a underdeveloped nation giving some sort of like near godlike status to a person from um, a more technologically savvy nation, and
Mm.
putting him on this god tier status, and mostly because of the fact that these more technologically advanced people or godlike beings give these people in a third world nation uh, these technological advances that would set them thousands of years in the future. And for one example of this was the John From cargo cult, which was
Yeah.
somewhere in the southeast of Asia. It was like a little tiny dotted island. Oh, wait, no. Was it Asia?
Yeah, I think so.
If I remember correctly. Um, Again, it's been a minute since I talked about that. Actually, I have my notes here. Perfect. Um, yeah, it was the island of Vanuatu, which is
Ah, yes.
northeast of Australia on the Pacific Ocean. Yes, I was correct. It was Southeast Asia, northeastern Australia, um, in that little middle ground. But yeah, these guys were visited during World War II, during the Pacific in the Pacific theater fighting and stuff like that. American troops had somehow ended up on the island of Vanuatu, and the the Venusian people, I don't know, but the
Uh,
people that inhabited the island, they uh, lived very um, primitively. They lived in like mud huts, dressed in you know leather from the animals nearby, as well as like leaves and decorative flowers, the entire nine. Like these people did not have like they I don't even think they actually had like flint lighters or anything. They probably were still rubbing sticks together. These people were so uh, out of the technological loop. Uh, and it wasn't until these American soldiers came through. In particular, one that they noted was a man named John From, and it's been suggested
your
that
boy John from
my boy
John
John From, and
John
again,
from America.
John from America, John from Ohio, John from Cincinnati. Nobody knows who John From actually is, or if he was a real person, let alone even like, yeah, let alone like what the native people of Vanuatu, what kind of stuff that they got from the island or from the Americans. Nobody's necessarily sure, but it was reported by the chief, this guy up here, that John From came with uh, chocolate potato chips. He came with refrigerators, and apparently we're just giving them all of this, giving them like all of these like new technological advances. And this was like right in the middle of the war. And then he's like, you know what, I gotta go, but I will come back and I'm gonna bring some more stuff for y'all. So he leaves, and at the end of the war, he comes back with like guns and uh, cars and all sorts of things that that frankly the islanders didn't have any means to maintain, but these were all basically going to get dumped off the island, off of at wherever that these American soldiers were stationed, because the war
Mhm.
was done. Thus they didn't need the equipment anymore.
Yep.
And instead of bringing it back because it would be too costly, they instead gave it to the native people of Vanuatu. Oh yes, and also a new fun word that I learned was archipelago.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun new word to learn
How how
from the
is
island.
how is an archipelago defined?
Archipelago is defined. Archipelago. I forget.
Oh,
Archipelago. Archipelago is a collection of really, really small islands, basically. Uh, I think it's even suggested that it's like a collection of small islands, like I think Hawaii would be considered an archipelago, wouldn't it? Or maybe the Seychelles. I don't know. It's
I do
basically
not know.
it's basically a collection of small, many small lands and such. Um, as per the actual rating on this,
Yeah, cargo cults,
I,
normal or bad?
for and that's the toss up there. I think it's perfectly fine and normal to give thanks to a person that helped you out so much. Not to the extent that these people did, but again, people give praise to a man that was locked behind a boulder for 30 days, or 3 days, excuse me, not 30. Um, so who knows? Like, I think again, you have a primitive society whose entire worldview is completely changed by one person. Much in the same way that when man first looked at the sun, they said, it's the sun. The sun gives us all of this, and it must be of God of some sort. So I think misinterpretation is perfectly fine and normal. So I would put that in the fine and normal bracket. I don't know about you.
Okay. I was gonna say that I think it's fine to give uncontacted people refrigerators,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think it's kind of bad for uncontacted people to worship some human dude. But if the
Mm-hmm.
guy's been dead for a while, that's fine. What they're doing is fine.
Right.
Who knows? John Frum might just even be an imaginary guy that
More than
someone
likely.
made up, and how is that better than anything else? I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
At least they have refrigerators. You know who this lady is?
I love refrigerators. Yes, that is Quiet from Metal Gear Solid
Oh,
5.
good. Did you know
Yes.
that? So, does she have two available costumes?
I think she has a handful, doesn't she? She
Does
also had
she?
there's a handful of available costumes if I remember correctly. She also had like a full silver getup. Like she looked like the Silver Surfer.
Really?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, I guess I only had the normal one and the one covered in blood.
Yeah, there was that one. If you There's also a particular like uh cutscene that you have to get, and you can also get her a green jumpsuit, if I remember correctly. There's like a
Is
green
it
like military jumpsuit from the Diamond Dogs that you can give her too.
interesting? She can, even though canonically she's allergic to clothing, she can wear a jumpsuit because it's just a skin.
I don't fucking know, dude. Hideo Kojima just wanted to put a French model into a video game so you could, you know, have fan service. It's
Do you
again,
understand why she
yeah, she was somehow genetically modified after she was with the harmonic virus
right.
Skullface was trying to
It has something to do with the vocal cord parasite
it's a
makes
vocal
her
parasite, and if she
she
speaks her native language, it makes her more ill, and it was
or
basically to
so it'll spread the
it will
vocal,
spread the virus and kill her or something like that, something to that
but she can't wear clothes for a reason?
effect.
Question mark.
So apparently the virus somehow
She has to
turns.
breathe through her skin.
She has to breathe through her skin,
Allergic to clothes.
and she
Incredible.
also photosynthesizes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Some
that's
people find, I feel that I have heard people describe Quiet as a problematic character.
it's questionable. And you know what? Like,
How do you feel about a clothing allergy? You think that's
I
that's
think
not all right?
again, it's not my story to write, but like Hideo, like I mean,
Funny
yes,
guy, my favorite guy, my favorite
he's a
man.
goofy guy, and again, like
Some of my
I
favorite
get it. You
internet
have to sell
content.
you have to sell the game, but like Snake is enough to sell this game off of, and that's what I don't get.
I don't think she was in any advertising, not that I know. But I mean,
Well, I don't think
obviously,
she
you know,
could have been. Like
you see gameplay
the
and
censors probably
stuff.
would have had a fit, but
Um,
yeah.
yeah. What do you think about the story that happened?
Oh, so this story was about, and again, this is probably the first time
Oh, whoa.
that we ended up in
Yeah,
some
I've
trouble.
never seen the silver one. That
I
rules.
know, isn't that rad? But
That's
this
I
is
gotta go. Maybe I'll play this game someday again.
oh, it's so I miss playing that game. But yeah, there was a moment after we had I had posted this on YouTube. We had potentially gotten into trouble with a Metal Gear Solid subreddit.
Oh,
Uh,
oh dear. Okay, Reddit.
Particularly a a group that had been trying to release the what was considered to be the secret ending to Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
They were trying to get to the ending, but which they had discovered through some data mining and what have you. But unfortunately, uh, you had to do something absolutely ridiculous in order to obtain it within the game, and it was just near impossible. And uh, and a group of technically data miners and hackers were the ones that were the ones that said that they had potentially and
Achieved nuclear
not
disarmament.
yeah, they achieved nuclear disarmament, and I was trying to find the term, not legally but like properly, like played the game properly without cheating. um and it had turned out that, and again, all I know is that I know nothing about this because it's just so out there that I was surprised that this could have even happened. It was almost very much like a subplot to a Metal Gear Solid story.
A
Uh,
little bit, yeah.
Again, it's really convoluted, and nobody necessarily knows who did what. Uh, and again, I was basing my understanding and reporting on this concept, this little story. It was off of a couple of articles that I had read, as well as uh, a little article, a little video article done by Some Ordinary Gamer and Did You Know Gaming, which is really fascinating.
Okay. Yep.
And it was really good. It was very interesting, and I tried my best to do my own due diligence to kind of read up and research about this, but it was again very convoluted. It's a lot of he said she said. It's a lot of Konami being gross. I think that at the end of the day, the only thing that we learned about the nuclear disarmament is that Konami is a gross ass gambling company, and nobody should buy any more games from these people, and they should just stick to gambling stuff and give the rights to their games to somebody else because they don't even make money off of these games. That's the thing that
Worst
pisses me
case,
off.
like best case scenario. Like basically, this is terrible. If this is what I don't know if this I don't know if this is not worst or best case, but
Mm.
the reason that this is mankind has failed is that we didn't get to see the ending to Metal Gear Solid 5
No,
because they fired Kojima and they didn't have it prepared or in the game and they put it behind an impossible thing to achieve because it was never complete.
I,
And
I
there was
would
a whole third chapter that's just not there. because they got sick of Kojima, so they could sell gambling machines.
They did re-release what was supposed to be the ending, but it was like a partial animatic slash like partially done cutscene sort of thing.
Really?
But you couldn't like play the mission. Like there was supposed to be like a mission where you're supposed to fight Sahelanthropus against and the blonde kid, whatever his fucking name was.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
Um.
you're supposed to fight him at the end, and
Okay. Yeah.
and I think it was I don't remember if it was at that point you figured out that uh he was like a clone of Snake, or no, he was a clone of Ocelot, wasn't he?
I
I'm
feel
trying to.
like I
This
don't
whole
know.
shit's
I
so
think
it's
he
so.
might be like Liquid Snake or something.
I don't know, man. It's all
I don't
such
know. He should
convoluted.
be. I thought he should. I thought he should have been Raiden, but I don't think he is.
I don't believe he is either.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, we didn't. Anyway, no one knows.
nobody
And I
knows.
mean, but here's the other thing, though.
Hmm.
It should be. It's worth mentioning that Kojima was like famously very sick of working on this series
Hmm.
altogether. So it's and like one internet story is that they fired him because he was hanging out with Gail Del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen fucking doing cocaine in a beach house. So you know,
Who the fuck cares? He's
there's a
not
there's a
hurting anybody.
variety of reasons why we didn't get the end of Metal Gear Solid. Period. Like basically, like that was the last game, and that was it. Like
Hmm.
there's not going to be. We didn't get the end of this game or the end of the series. But the man making it was sick of it,
Hmm.
so that's fine.
Reasonably so. And instead, he made a postal service simulator, which I
It's
absolutely have
amazing.
a blast and a half with.
Fucking
It's
perfect.
it's weird how much I enjoyed
Perfect
it.
thing.
Like
Unbelievable. Unbelievable piece of art.
it's phenomenal, and I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. As much as I love Hideo, I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I
Conan O'Brien, the cosplayer.
did. Cosplay.
Great. Just great shit. Shout out to oh man. Death Note Girl.
Death Note
Shout
girl.
out shout out to Death Note Girl.
Who's Death Note girl?
Yeah. I always think I'm gonna know what her name is, and I don't. But she plays the character Mama in Death Stranding.
Yeah,
You remember Mama?
yeah, I do. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
that
figure out
actress. She's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Margaret
and
Qualley.
Margaret Qualley.
Qualley,
Yes,
Qualley, Qua.
I think it's Qualley, but I could be wrong.
I
But she's awesome, and she's in Death Stranding, and also Death Note
Once upon a time, and she's also in Death Note. Really?
with Willem Dafoe.
Wait,
the
Death.
yeah the terrible Death Note adaptation on
Wait, the
Netflix. That
Netflix
was a couple
series?
years. Yeah, no, it wasn't a series. It was one movie a couple like 5 years ago. Terrible.
Death. Wait, really? I thought it was a like a
Willem
TV
Dafoe
series.
played the Babadook. No, it was one movie.
He played the
It
Babadook.
it was an anime series. You know the anime series.
You're gonna piss off the anime. Like you're gonna have the anime people on us now, man. You don't want to fuck with those people. They're weird.
Like the famous anime character Light Turner's Babadook who chugs apples.
Yeah.
Yes. Who's played by
Astoy
Willem Dafoe.
Shinigami.
He's played a Shimigami. He's played by Willem
Shinigami,
Dafoe
whatever. But
in
I
the
didn't realize that was Willem
an
Dafoe.
origami.
That was Willem Dafoe.
In the movie, in the Netflix movie, yes,
Hold on, now
with Margaret
what in the
Qualley.
sweet dippy? Are you kidding me? That's hilarious.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm somewhat of a Shinigami myself.
I'm gonna watch that movie at some point.
I really liked the there was a video out. There was like a back to back comparison of the Death Note series introduction to Raikou, who the Shinigami guy is, and
Uh,
then
oh, Ryuk.
Ryuk. Yes, the first introduction of the Shinigami when he like pops up in the room and there's light, just kind of like frozen in fear, and you really felt that scene in the anime. and
Okay. Yeah.
and then
I
there
know.
was
I know.
that
I
that
know.
scene. he's 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 like screeching. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. He's like
Lakeith
slamming himself into the door and stuff.
Lakeith Stanfield played L. That's
Sure.
interesting.
Is
That
that person known for something else?
yeah, he's the kind of stonery guy. And have you ever watched Atlanta?
No.
Oh, that's a really funny show. He's been
Okay.
or Get Out, the
Oh,
very
I know
first.
Get Out. Yeah.
Yeah, the very first guy that gets picked up. That's
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Oh, he's also
Okay. Yeah.
the main character in uh oh god, what's that? Not Thank You for Holding, but that
Oh, yeah. Sorry for
Sorry for the Inconvenience or something like that.
is something like that.
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's a
was
fucked up
really
movie.
fucking good in that movie. And that movie was
Oh,
weird
that
as
guy's
shit.
in it. Yeah, that cannibal guy's in it.
Cannibal guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he was
You
a
know,
can. Hmm?
he was also the cannibal guy, Army Hammer.
Hmm.
You don't know about Army Hammer?
Oh, I know that he like fled to Europe so he didn't have to pay alimony or some shit.
Oh, really? I think he also wanted to eat his wife.
That I didn't hear about. That's really fucking funny. That's wild.
What else was what the fuck? Someone else talked about something Army Hammer was in other than uh what movie did I just what the fuck? Where are we now? What movie were we
Like
talking about?
we were talking about the
Oh, sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah.
Army Hammer is definitely in something about sorry to bother you. Army Hammer will not face sexual assault charges.
Oh,
Okay, good
sexual
for you, Army Hammer.
assault. Oh no.
Well, but it involved I don't know. There was something about text messages about how he wanted to eat his wife or something. A year and a half after Army Hammer was first accused of sexual misconduct in parentheses and possible cannibalism, the disgraced actor is once again making headlines for reportedly losing his wealthy family's financial support, switching career paths, and taking on a job selling timeshares at a Cayman Island resort. Why is it getting harder and harder to distinguish real life from the white letters? In case you're a little confused. Oh,
Oh
call
my.
me by your name. Okay.
Oh my god. What the fuck, dude? Where do these people come from, man? Like, how does this keep? How does this like? We cover a lot of stupid shit, but how do we just end up with even more crazier shit every single time? Oh my god. He tried. He said he wanted to cannibalize his wife.
I'm looking. This article I'm reading is actually very boring, and it sounds like whatever charges were not actually filed. But
Like,
he was like it said in parentheses alleged cannibalism. Like he was accused of wanting to eat women.
hmm. Um. Jeez. God.
Yes. Ah, yes.
He's
A
fucking.
woman came forward and claims to have had a 4 year long affair with Hammer, during which she says he sent her graphic and violent texts about cannibalism, rape fantasies, and his desire to drink her blood. She publishes a collection of texts and screenshots she reportedly received from Hammer, and also messages that reportedly came from his other exes. Women approached me with their affair stories, and as we talked, overwhelmed with grief for days and nights without sleeping or eating, with some ending up in the ER, she writes in one Instagram story. So, yeah, a bunch of women said he was a very bad guy that wanted to eat women. Yeah, it just goes on to become worse and worse as I read on. It
Oh my
stopped
god.
being boring. I got past the boring part of the article I'm reading. Yeah. So, Army Hammer, what movie's he in? Oh,
I'm sorry to bother you.
that movie, Sorry to Bother You is great.
It was so good. I really liked that movie. I really enjoyed that movie a lot.
Did you see? You know they made a new version of the Philadelphia experience experiment. Is that RoboCop's girlfriend?
Yes, that is. Yeah, that was from
Cool, I like
that
it.
was the late '80s version, and then there was one in like 2012,
Oh,
I believe.
2012. Yeah, not yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, I was right. Holy shit.
Yeah, what happened? They sent a spaceship. They sent a regular boat into space.
I believe that was the basis of the movie, yes, but it was unfortunately not the basis of
Anything in reality?
anything within the realm of the conspiracy theory, so to
Oh,
speak.
what's the conspiracy theory is what? That they teleported a ship to another dimension?
So it is believed that a man who was part of a UFO cult, another UFO cultist,
Oh, another UFO cult. So we've already
yeah,
determined that that's at least pretty bad.
yeah, well, it's more it's not the UFO, it's not that the UFO cult portion of the story was bad. I think it was more like he was more of a UFO. He was a self-proclaimed ufologist, and it turned out that he was just a schizophrenic, very disturbed man. Uh, but he believed that on a day in the 1940s, right before the beginning of World War II, there were the some destroyers out in a bay in Philadelphia, and he was staring out at the ship. He was a crew member as part of the fleet of ships that were out there that day, or at least so he claims. He was a member of the Navy. He said that he saw a ship, the USS Eldridge, uh, get
Of course.
consumed in a green puff of smoke or fog or what have you, and just
Hmm.
completely disappeared. Mind you, that ship was carrying electromagnetic uh,
A cloaking
and
device.
like engines, and they were supposed to try and figure out how to cloak themselves from the Nazis and their U-boats. And it turned out that they had accidentally uh, made a machine that could transcend space and time on this boat, and this boat somehow went 40 seconds into the past,
Oh.
uh,
Oh, it did.
and
Fused
and
with itself?
basically teleported into a bay somewhere off of. I always mix this up. I said Fairfax, Virginia. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know.
I always somehow fuck that up. Virginia. I was correct. Uh, but again, I don't know if there's any ports there or not. But again, I'm not the crazy schizophrenic guy that wrote this story. But anyway, so he claimed that the ship had disappeared with the Fairfax and had teleported back to Philadelphia within a matter of seconds. Uh, how he proved that it ended up in Fairfax, Virginia, is up to speculation. It was said that there were witnesses that saw the ship in Fairfax, but at the end of the day, the reality was that the USS Eldridge was never ported in Philadelphia ever. It was in New York. Uh,
So this is a very silly story.
this is an extremely silly story, but it was believed that this was all part of an experimental CIA. Well, at the time, uh, I forgot what the CIA used to be called, but it was almost like a secret op by the U.S. government known as the Montauk Project, which we'll probably be covering in a little bit here. But the Montauk Project was part of this, and it was the Philadelphia experiment was basically a test to see if uh, they could one cloak themselves and make themselves invisible to German U-boats, and also to kind of just mess around with electromagnetic engines. It was really wild. Uh, but yeah, uh, this dude like maintained his claims until he died. Although he would actually no, excuse me, he would recant and then maintain until his death. But he would recant and reaffirm and recant and reaffirm over and over again. So nobody actually knew what this guy was talking about or what he actually saw. It was just suggested that he did see this happen. But yeah, it's basically about a ship that transcends time and a destroyer ship that transcended time and space, and there's somehow some secret government connections to it.
Do you think that the government should secretly send vessels through time and space? And is that a bad thing to do or a very bad
I
thing?
think that's technically a bad thing to do. I mean, we all learned from Back to the Future that going back in time and having your mom make out with you is definitely not a good thing. So what good would it do to have a destroyer ship transcend time and space 40 seconds backwards in time, uh, about 100 miles away? Like there's
Right.
no practical use to it. So I would say that's just bad.
Now, why do I have a card with a picture of Trump the game on it?
Oh my god. I'm intrigued now because I'm trying to remember what that is even about. Trump the game.
Well, this particular game was chosen to be displayed with alongside a curated collection of items that share a certain pop property with this gentleman.
Oh shit.
No, nothing.
No, I'm blanking. Why can't I remember this?
Oh
Is
well,
this one?
Trump the game and Trump himself are featured in a collection called the Museum of
Of
Failure.
failures. That's what it was. Then that's definitely perfectly fine and normal. Although mankind has failed, I think curating a museum of all mankind's failures is perfectly fine and normal.
Yes, I
But
think it's good to. I think it's good that we look upon these failures.
mhm. but uh,
Yes.
but yes, the Museum of Failures was a curated museum of failed product lines and technologies created from since I believe the 1900s, if I remember correctly. Um,
Well, great failures of the modern age.
Great failures, yeah, great failures of the modern age would probably be a more appropriate term. Um, from from Trump the Game to Zima to
Zima.
uh, what else was there? There was the all grown up Skipper doll,
Oh
which was really
yes,
funny. The
very
the
weird.
doll where you twisted her arm over and she would grow breasts. To it
Yeah, that's
to which,
wacky.
funnily enough, they released it two different times in two different eras, and it's hilarious that they tried doing it again. Like they didn't, like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you need a new PR department. Like, yeah, it made absolutely no sense to have a doll like that. What else was there? There was a handful of other really funny failures from like Crystal Coke and or New Coke and Crystal Pepsi and all that jazz. There's all sorts of really really interesting failures from that museum, I will say. But yeah, I personally believe that that is a perfectly normal and fine thing. Now, this, on the other hand, is well beyond not fine. And I almost want to put it at just another room in the world, just for the sole
No,
fact that it was held
this
in
is
one room.
almost fucking people. Well, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Other than people eating each other or melting, like people
Mhm.
intentionally traumatizing one another is what goes on
and
in
making
these
and, and
rooms in
making
this world.
and making this sort of like Nazi-esque excuse of I was just following orders.
Sure, yeah.
Like
A lot of bad stuff involved in this story.
the Stanford prison experiment uh, happened sometime in like the mid. Was it the early 70s?
70s, early
Something
70s.
like that.
That sounds, yeah.
It was seen as a experiment into the power dynamics between prisoners and the people who imprison them. Like I feel like I'm doing like a feel like I'm doing like a morning bit, And now next we have the prisoners and the people who
Who imprisoned them?
imprison them up next. Um, yeah, it was a very weird experiment. They took a whole bunch of college students and made them all. They made a couple pretend to be guards, and they used like a set of study rooms for the experiment, and those were supposed to be the cells. Uh, it got really weird. It got really, really weird, and people were humiliated and forced to poop on the floor and all sorts of other gross,
Wow.
awful things. Yeah, uh, they were deprived of food and water, just humiliated in front of the other inmates. And it was through that humiliation that, excuse me, it's through the humiliation that the prison guards had like most of the power, and it also led
Sure.
to a lot of infighting between the inmates. Very, very fascinating story. If you haven't, for those out there who haven't seen that yet or heard about it yet, do some reading on it. It'll fuck your day up. It'll make
And
you.
this is a movie also.
There was a movie too. It also had
Billy Crudup.
who was the guy, or excuse me, who was they were they them? Who was the person who played the Flash in the new movie? What was
Oh,
their name?
I was wondering if Ezra Miller was in
That
this
was Ezra
movie.
Miller. Yes, Ezra Miller is in that
Okay.
movie too. I think this actually was before Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I'm not sure.
Mm, but that was a great movie too. And again, like
How
if Ezra Miller just kept on that pace, I think he would have been fine. But whatever the fuck he's doing now,
I don't know. He's running a cult. I think maybe we'll cover
well,
him.
it's just like every other fucking person in Hollywood apparently, much like
I
the
guess so.
Nexium people or um, there was another. I actually saw this thing about a cult that ran a restaurant. That
Oh,
I might want to cover someday. But
okay.
there's like a California cult that runs a handful of restaurants in
Oh, that sounds
San
familiar,
Bernardino or
actually.
something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've
But
heard of
but they
that.
but they basically force their members. They say that these members have part ownership in the business, but by all rights and purposes, they're technically slave labor.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, it's frightening. There was like an expose by some random YouTuber guy. I fucking forget, but very interesting shit. But anyway, yeah, Stanford Prison Experiment, fucking terrible.
How come I've got a picture of two very serious government federal agents dosing each other with LSD?
Well, it could potentially be that this was the CIA mixer where a CIA agent was dosed with a whole bunch of acid and then he had killed himself by jumping from a window. Or you could just,
Oh,
which was part of, or you could be just mentioning the entirety of the MK Ultra scandal.
I don't think that this is specifically an
I
image of the guy that jumped out the window being dosed.
I know, no, that's not him. But
These guys also.
that is a proof that has been a contested conspiracy of sorts that within the MK Ultra experiment that the head of the program, whose name I don't have in front of me right now, but he threw like a party, and this guy was very contrarian to all the ethics and shit that the CIA had been perpetrating. That um, the lack of ethics, I should say, that the CIA had been using, and so they pretended to have this nice little Christmas party or whatever, and the CIA agent was dosed, and it is said that he went insane and was tossed out the window, or had tossed himself from a window, but it has also been suggested that he was dosed and just simply jumped out of the window.
And then they made a Netflix show about that.
Did they make a Netflix show about that?
Yeah, it's called Wormwood. Yeah, we didn't talk about that?
No.
Yeah,
That's
Wormwood
awesome.
on Netflix is basically about that exact incident, and it probably
I've
embellished.
never heard about that. That's so interesting. I'll have to watch that.
These guys also had a lot of sex with each other and recorded
Mm,
other people having sex with each other and had a
indeed.
lot of surveillance of people on acid having sex with each other. This was
Particularly,
a this was a whole era of the American government.
indeed,
These
and
guys
and
doing
in
this stuff.
particular, like if you ever questioned, who's running your government, well, uh,
And right after these guys got sick of doing that, it was the 80s, and along came Ronald Reagan, and everything just went uphill from there.
do a lot of coke and for Ronald Reagan.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, these two gentlemen right here these were the main gentlemen doing LSD and voting for Ronald Reagan and having sex with each other.
Hmm.
Actually, I think this is Kiefer Sutherland and Michael Cera is who I think this is a picture of. What's up, Asper? I
Hey,
think
what's
that's
up?
bad. I don't think government agents should take acid. I already said you shouldn't take acid and go to work. So I think very bad. Do you think worse?
I would put that in. I would put that in very bad to like. I would have it somewhere in the line of very bad and mankind has failed.
We can have these two gentlemen just kind of peeking up like
Yeah,
this over
we'll
the.
have them peeking out because
They're a little bit below the line. Yeah.
mhm. With these guys the road to hell to paved with good intentions and shit like that. But yeah, fucking
All
terrible.
right. Is this Colin Farrell?
I can't
Is
tell.
this a movie? Was there a movie, or is this? My question is, or did someone write a book about the Montauk
There
Project
was a
and
handful of books written about the
and
Montauk
get
Project.
and get a picture of Colin Farrell for some reason?
Yes. There was a book, The Montauk Project: Experiments in Time by Preston Nichols. I believe we talked about him when we did the episode.
Is Sidney Gottlieb one of these gentlemen?
Sidney Gottlieb is, I believe, probably no. Wait, no. I think Sidney Gottlieb came a little bit further down the line. Sidney Gottlieb
Okay.
came like shortly after. I'm trying to remember. I would have to go. I would have to go into my research again. But if I remember, Sidney
When
Gottlieb.
did Colin Farrell star in a Montauk Project movie?
I don't know. Colin.
I don't think it's. I don't think. I think that is a frame from some other Colin Farrell movie that is on the cover of this book for some reason. That's what I think we're looking at.
Oh, that's so fucking dumb. Okay, so I just looked this up. It's not the movie. It's not an actual movie, but that is a scene from the remake with Colin Farrell of Total Recall, 2000.
Oh my god! And what? And they slapped that on the cover of this book?
It seems so.
That's insane.
Which I mean, again, like the Montauk chair that we discussed, the infamous chair that you get strapped into to transcend universes and all that jazz. That could be what they were trying to reference, but I don't believe that is the cover of the book
Yeah,
by Preston Nichols.
I think this is just an image that I found on the internet that I don't know. I don't know why someone made it or why I picked it. Well, I picked it because I was like, hey, it was because I wanted to ask you if Colin Farrell was. Yeah, now that image is not even coming up. So I don't know what the hell I typed in to cause that image to appear.
That is
But
very well. No, I typed
oh,
in
here it is.
Montauk
Yeah.
Project. I typed in Montauk Projects, and it's one of the first images that comes up. Colin Farrell
Okay,
Montauk
right.
Project.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
um,
Montauk Base is still alive. Experiments in Mind Control by Gil Carlson.
I believe we might have talked about him too, but I don't remember.
And
Same
this book is
sounds.
not in. This book does not appear to be in English.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is
Fascinating.
another book, and they slapped Colin Farrell from Total Recall on it.
You, you know.
So what happened out on Montauk? Did
Oh,
they?
so
They
so
sent a ship. They sent a boat to the moon.
sent a boat to them.
Right? Is that where we're still? Are we
So
still talking about
no, well, technically, the
federal
Philadelphia.
agents on LSD, and we're sending boats to the moon, and we got Ronald Reagan.
Something to that
Man.
effect. Um, it is believed that the Montauk Project was a project by the CIA that was used to do experiments on the.
Colin Farrell.
It was used to do experiments on Colin Farrell. No, it was meant as a uh, experimentation on interdimensional travel. Uh, and also, although the base on Montauk, which is now Montauk Air Force Base.
Oh, and that monster got out, and so then they made Stranger
The
Things. Yep.
Demogorgon.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Stranger
That's
Things was
right.
based off of. Yes,
That
this
that thing that
entire
washed up on
conspiracy.
that beach that time.
Oh,
Man, I'm having like,
oh yeah, the
man,
Montauk monster, which is a
a whole
raccoon
different thing.
who
Yeah.
decayed.
It
That
was.
decayed.
I think it was determined to be a raccoon. I'm having a whole itchy sinuses. Whew. I'm having a
She's
whole.
not.
I've been having congestion. I've been having all kinds of health. I've been having all kinds of health.
Well, health is good. Unhealth is good. Not good, but it
So
just is.
have we decided that the government experimenting in space-time, however theoretically and fictionally, is probably a little bad?
I would say that's
Or
just a touch bad, even though
we
like
just, I mean, we put the Philadelphia experiment there. We probably don't want them mailing ships to
no,
Virginia or
no,
whatever.
and let alone uh doing tests on doing
Oh,
tests on
thorough.
people
And
and
making people believe that they've gone on vacation to Mars.
yes, exactly.
We don't want that. I feel like
Hmm.
I think that a government agent came and dosed me with LSD and made me believe that I'm on vacation on Mars.
Hmm.
That's what happened to me
Or
in
in
the past three
Montreal,
years.
perchance.
Yeah.
Which is another thing we
What?
forgot to mention was that Montreal
Oh,
shit that was from
oh,
MK Ultra. The just really quick, Montreal, uh, there was a mental health institution on a college campus that was used to experiment LSD and other psychotropics and to use in experimentation on people to see if they can control minds. And
oh. Okay, okay,
yeah,
good.
and it was actually not a conspiracy. This was really what happened. And currently, there are people who were part of the experiment that are still alive, as well as the family members, are currently in
Oh
the
yeah.
courts fighting the U.S. government as well as the Canadian government. This is actually really happening. They're still trying to get these people into some, get the U.S. government and the Canadian government into shit for doing experiments on their own people. It's like petrifying.
Well,
Like,
they should be. They should be in shit.
yeah, they should be in some deep shit. Um, but
What the hell was this movie, and why did you make me watch it?
so this movie is called Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It was done by a guy named Steve O'Decker,
A
and
thumb man.
the Thumb Guy, the guy who made your favorites such as Thumb Wars uh, and Back to the Thumpture and
He did Back to the
Thumbelina.
Thumbshire. What do
No,
you think, Asper? Very bad or fine and normal?
I think that that is a perfectly fine and normal movie.
Me too. I think it's a very. I thought that it was very
Reasonably,
funny, as a matter of fact.
it was stupid. It was so even as a kid, I thought that was the dumbest fucking movie ever. But I to this day I can't help but quote it and love it. I sometimes still find myself going wee wee at random intervals. But yeah, excellent movie. Next, these fine people sitting at a bus stop are actually not people. They're actually stuffed dolls.
Are you
So
sure?
I believe so. Unless
I've
you
been to
know
this. I've been to this town, and those people are very polite.
they're very nice people. You know, and it was of
The
course after my trip to Montreal that I went to Nagoro, Japan. Uh,
people, the people that are actually like in the background that are like serving at this little restaurant, I find extremely creepy.
yeah, the
There are
fact.
like two people standing in the shadows behind everyone.
Mm. But yeah, these are actually dolls that are stuffed with straw. There's a little town called Nagoro, Japan, and or Nagoro in Japan, and
Did
in this
everyone
town,
leave?
hmm,
Did everyone leave?
everyone in the town left because there was no jobs in the town, and there was one woman who had to return to her birth home to help out her family, her hometown, and as the population began to dwindle further and further, and there was like less and less people in the town, she made it a little art project for herself to stuff these dolls that looked like former residents of the town, and she would put them in their regular places, almost in this sort of like still, in motion, like caught like a Medusified like kind of thing. They're like doing regular everyday
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
Like again, they're at the bus stop where they're at this little like curbside restaurant. Um, these were made, yeah, these were particularly made just for the fun of it. And it's just fascinating because this entire town, this entire, what was it, like 3 mile by 3 mile town is completely filled with these fucking guys. And this woman has been making it her little passion project for over 10 years, 15 years, if I remember correctly. But she's been going at it for a really, really long time. And
Yeah,
there's
filling the town with dolls.
hundreds and hundreds. I would say that is a perfectly reasonable, fine, and normal thing to do. There is nothing
Man,
bad or very bad about it whatsoever.
we've almost filled up fine and normal.
I know, right? Um, I was gonna say, what's next on the docket? What else we got?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to move. I had to take away my stack of cards because. Oh shit! Yeah, I gotta grab the next one because we ran out of room in fine
Oh
and
yeah.
normal where they were.
Well, you know what? How
All
about
right.
this? How about we put the Museum of Failures, since it is a failure, we'll put it in Mankind Has Failed. Maybe we can work with that. Or is that gonna throw you off?
I could also just kind of condense everything a little bit.
That could work
You
too.
know, I mean,
Yeah,
that's fine too.
yeah.
But anyway, so who's this lady that we got here?
Well, this lady is a world-renowned and very well-loved radio DJ. She's known as Orphan Annie to most of the American soldiers, who she broadcasted to during World War II in Japan. But now, if only I could actually find the. I had.
I feel like this was kind of a sad story. Something tragic happened to her.
I felt this was very tragic. Yes.
She was on the side of, or she was branded a traitor because she was broadcasting to American.
Yep, she was broadcasting to American soldiers. Um. Oh God, Iva Tagori is her name.
Okay.
I couldn't find her name for a moment.
Yeah, remind me what her story was about.
So Iva
Man, I
Tagori
really.
was an American citizen born in California.
Oh, okay, okay.
She could not speak Japanese, but she is of Japanese descent, and her family, still very enriched by they as much as they loved their motherland, they decided to go the route that most immigrant families go. They decided to Americanize themselves, and thusly, Iva was also very Americanized herself. Now, right before the bombings of Pearl Harbor, uh, she had taken a flight to go visit family in Japan to go help out with a sick relative, and it was within that time
Yes,
period.
okay, yep.
Yeah, it was within that time period uh, her passport had expired without her knowing, and so while she was waiting, Pearl Harbor happens, and thus she is no longer allowed to come back to America, despite the fact that she is an American citizen. And um, it is also within that the Japanese government began um, cracking down on Americans and people of other other nationalities inside of the empire. They decided to kind of rally them all up and make them basically do slave labor. And it just so happened that well, not just so happened, her family basically sold her out so they wouldn't die, and I
Mm.
which is unfortunate, but not to go Spock about it, but it's like the lives of the many, so on and so forth. Um, but she was arrested and was taken into custody by the Japanese and was forced to do a radio talk show where she was supposed to report misinformation and everything else.
Right, okay.
Unfortunately, the English translators for the Japanese were none the wiser, and so she actually was sending proper information to the Americans during this live radio broadcast. And mind you, there was a handful of um, English-speaking Japanese radio broadcasters that were known as Tokyo Roses. Tokyo Roses were these very sweet-sounding female English-speaking Japanese women who would basically completely destroy the morale of American soldiers, telling them how, for example, they would they would just call them like small dicked, pea-brained, douchebags that
Okay.
didn't know how to fucking do anything,
So
sort of shit. I don't know, just in that sense. While she was very
they'd make
lightheartedly
fun of
calling
their
them
dicks.
knuckleheads and goofballs and things like that. And unfortunately, despite the fact that she was very, very much amusing to American soldiers, and was also revered by a lot of American soldiers who listened to her during their time in the Pacific Theater, she at the end of the war was brought back to the United States and was deemed a traitor. And it was
That's
within
very bad.
it is extremely bad. And I would say that it's almost like peaking
Or
like
has
those.
man
It's almost like peaking like those two
a lot
MK
of
Ultra
things
guys.
are on the wire here. A lot of very
It,
bad
it
things in
it's
American history are
yes.
bordering on mankind has failed.
I would honestly have to say so. I mean, like what? Should we talk about the Trail of Tears next? Because I think it would fall somewhere in that
Let's not.
bracket too. I would prefer not either because it just makes
Let's
me
talk
mad.
about a cartoon show with a scary clown.
Oh, my favorite. And a
What the
big
hell
shot
was this about?
and a big shout out to Umami, who was very gracious enough to give us the permission to post the Umami review of his um, excellent full length animated movie called Interface. Um, yeah, so Umami is a uh, a animator, uh, musician who's done all sorts of stuff for like Adult Swim. Uh, a very distinct art style that I really enjoyed. It's very like brass tack sort of stuff. It's very pixelated. Um, and in some of the moments that these things are rendered, like it's almost like a MS Paint sort of like
Yeah.
model drawing sort of. But this particular story, which makes still barely any sense to me, it is beyond wild, and I would not want to spoil it. But of course we have our two main characters. Oh God, what's the main guy's name? I forget his name,
Oh, I do
but
not.
the
Yeah.
clown next to him is a clown known as Percy slash
Yes.
Mischief, who is a interdimensional being that somehow was uh, very embracing of humanity to begin with, and then kind of had a falling out with humanity for a long while, and then somehow due to uh, some corporate overlord opening a time space continuum, allowed Percy slash Mischief to kind of come to fruition again. And this is also the show that we first learned that the Philadelphia experiment was actually real.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. This show talked about that. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, we found out that the Philadelphia experiment was, well, not real, but like that there was actually an actual like conspiracy theory. And again, we later did the research on it. It was really interesting. But yeah, it's a very bizarre animation. It's like pixelated pixelatedly gorgeous. I can't even figure out a proper term for what you would call that, but um, Umami does some freaking great work. I really enjoyed um, watching this. It's really bizarre. The music is great, and it's all done by just the one guy. I believe he might have had a small team to help him, but I believe more so than anything that it was just him by himself making this, and it's phenomenal. It's been featured in all sorts of art uh, competitions and so forth. I believe it was also a it was also released during the Montreal Film Festival. Excuse me. I believe he's in Montreal, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. But yeah, excellent stuff. I really liked Interface. As for the actual story,
Yeah, what's the yeah? What? How do we rank the story? What happens in the story?
well, the story is that mankind has somehow opened another portal, like the Philadelphia experiment. So I would probably put it in
Okay,
the bad category as per the story. But
okay.
as for the actual,
Stories of reality is unraveling and people are teleporting. That's pretty bad.
oh yeah, oh yeah, um, and let alone like major corporations kind of taking over
Sure.
yeah.
Umami
Oh
also does those soup videos that are really cool.
man. Uh, so the Umo,
Yeah, what were the Umo papers?
so the Umo papers were it was basically it was initially a cult led by a man, Jose Pena, I believe his name was, but
Okay, I remember Jose Pena. Yeah,
something like
okay.
that. And I also feel like that's a baseball player's name, but that's not who we're talking
Yeah, we
about.
could be. Who knows?
No, he's
Yeah.
a no. This dude was a scientist, and it was during the time that Spain was still ran by a fascist regime,
Right. Okay. Okay.
and
Yep.
yeah, uh,
Oh,
and
was this guy? Okay. I'm starting. It's starting to. It's starting to sound more familiar. Please continue.
oh yeah, no, yeah, this guy basically made this call. He started receiving letters from an unknown alien and started discussing. And in these papers was these long listings of explanations of like interdimensional travel and experiments and things like that that mankind hasn't really touched upon. And it was all this like new, phenomenally thought up um, uh, advances that mankind could actually like use and utilize properly. Uh, but what was fascinating was as much as like the man for most of his life, the man who Jose Pena explained that he was, again, I could be completely wrong about his name. I'll actually look that up in the meantime. But he explained that he was a what the hell, Vay? Why is she so whiny? Um, the the Umo were said to he were said to be this like um interdimensional race that or not interdimensional, a intergalactic race that had been watching mankind for a while and only wished to help them improve their lives and so forth. And so and their society had also, much like the Spanish, had been taken over by a fascist regime, and they had um, basically been pilgriming, had been committing to a pilgrimage throughout the universe to try and find a new place to settle that didn't have that sort of a thing. And it was only later proven or later said by Pena himself that he made up the story and that the letters about like the advancements in sciences were actually the um, the disgraced scientists that the fascist regime had had basically put a black mark on. And it was these particular scientists that helped Pena create the concepts that the Umo were talking about, these kind of futuristic concepts, because like what they were talking about, not the X-ray, but there was like almost like the CAT scan machine, I believe, was like one of the things that the Umo were describing in their papers, and it was like found out later that like it was really the initial makings of like the CAT scan machines amongst scientists that had discussed it. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was all false, and it was all a sort of an art project meant to dissuade people from UFO cultism as well as
Oh,
to
to dissuade people from UFO
dissuade
cultism.
people from
Wow.
UFO cultism.
Sounds fine to me.
It's counterproductive, but I mean, but later on, unfortunately, and this is why why Pena was like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Is the subsects of the cult began indoctrinating children as well as branding people.
That's very bad.
Yes, it is very much very bad. Um, and as much as he, tried to show his, disapproval, the people who believed in the UMO and the UMO papers, and as much as he himself said that none of this is real, fucking quit it, these people still believed in, and if I'm not mistaken, there are still people that believe in this shit to this day. There's actually still subsects of the UMO cult somewhere.
Wow, that's very bad.
Mm-hmm. One in particular was in South America, I believe in Bolivia. Uh,
Yeah, okay. It was a lot of South American.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was
I seem
somewhere
to
in
recall
Bolivia.
that.
There was a cult, a subsect of the cult uh, that two people claimed to be of Umo descent,
Hmm.
and they're really aliens, and if you give us your money and your riches, we'll gladly share our secrets of the universe, sort of shit.
Who are
Um,
these people at this pizza restaurant? Or are
well,
they eating sushi?
I believe they're having the breakfast special, which is
Okay.
2 eggs with a side of
Oh, okay.
potatoes and your choice of meat,
Oh.
and of course your choice of toast or
Oh, yeah, yeah.
English muffin. um, so these people to our right here are from a small town in what was believed to be northern Wisconsin, right off the
Yep.
border of the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. It is believed that this picture was taken in a town called Doveland, Wisconsin. Doveland. And it is within this conspiracy theory that there's actually some mild truth to it. So the story goes that there was a project from the CIA or from CIA or something like that called Project Sanguine, which is a project that was used to amplify radio waves from a really tall radio tower in the northern Midwest that was apparently supposed to transmit data um, uh, and telecommunications to submarines underneath the water. Uh,
Wow. In
and
in
is and
Wisconsin?
this was set in Wisconsin, which made no.
Underneath the water in Wisconsin?
They're apparently trying to stop Nazis in Wisconsin. I don't fucking know why they
Are
did. I don't know why they put this thing here.
is
And then
there a Great Lake near Wisconsin?
yeah, there'll be there's
Okay.
two. There's Michigan.
That's who they don't want the submarines. Oh, Lake Michigan is full of submarines.
Oh, is it like? Oh wait, I always forget which side it's.
I don't know what America looks like.
I forget which side. I always forget if it's. I believe Huron is on the right. Is on the thumb side.
See, you live out there. You should maybe know.
I should know better, but if I remember correctly, because there's a town in the thumb here called Port Huron, so I can only assume that
Oh,
Lake
okay.
Huron is on the thumb side of the state, and then on the other side of the state is Lake Michigan.
Right. Okay. So yeah,
But
and also they're broadcasting radio signals that hijack your brain and make you do secret government things as well.
well,
Probably.
well, well, it was more the actual project that was kind of put into question. It was the actual construction of this radio tower project that was put into question, as well as yes, there was suggestion that low frequency waves could potentially make people go insane. Uh, it was suggested that in the conspiracy theory about Project Sanguine, that they focused on a town called Doveland, Wisconsin, uh, to which they would start mining in the town, and they would also dig for, because apparently you needed miles upon miles of cable to make this radio tower work. And so Dublin, Wisconsin was particularly in the way of one of the cables. And so when they began construction in the town, the economy in the town absolutely plummeted. And it's within that the town was abandoned. And mind you, that this happens everywhere all the time. Sometimes towns just completely up and disappear. And but the thing is that more often than not, that there's like some sort of registry for the town.
Right.
Like
Sure.
there's got to be some sort of a school there. There has to be some sort of a city hall there. There's got to be some sort of documentation about like a town that just completely goes missing. Faye, what are you whining about? Quit whining. It's okay. I'm right here. Like for real, you know that I'm right here. Why are you whining? She's like meowing, like like she can't find me anywhere. Um. So. Yeah, and so the town is completely like flattened out for this these wires and cables that are supposed to be for this radio tower, and it has been suggested that this town will that this town was completely like flattened, and that this Project Sanguine has something to do with it. And people started making up these conspiracy theories, and one of them is that this picture right here is like one of the last remaining pictures of
Right.
in the town of Dublin, Wisconsin. And people will sometimes like and again, it's kind of in this questionability of this was kind of created in the internet age. This was very much a modern sort of like creepypasta type concept.
Yep.
And a lot of people began saying like oh yeah, this like probably just to kind of fall in the same line as the creepypasta, and also to kind of troll like oh yeah, Wisconsin's real, wink wink nudge nudge. um it was also like a big advertising campaign for t-shirts and other nonsensical trinkets for internet advertisers to sell. And it's unfortunate within those like within that market that people were starting to say like oh yeah, Dublin, Wisconsin's real, look, there's a t-shirt from the town. And
Right. Yeah.
it was picked up off of like Etsy or some shit. But yeah, so at the end of the day, Dublin, Wisconsin, according to most records and everything else, does not exist. But
But if the government were to bulldoze a whole town, did they do it while the people were living there?
more than likely. So
That's probably pretty bad.
I would put that in the very bad spot.
Okay.
That is definitely a very, very bad situation.
Look at this absolute psychopath.
Oh my goodness. So that I didn't even realize that was him for a moment. That's so
I
funny.
have no idea if Nathan Fielder, he might be an alien. I don't know if that's politically incorrect to say.
He's trying to understand humanity the best that he can, and he's just more from orking it the entire way.
Yeah.
So if anything, this was a very interesting.
He's got a new show coming out called The Curse, and I just can't even. I mean, I have no idea what it's about, but if he's making something called The Curse, I'm worried.
Yeah, it's got Emma Stone in it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Like that I have this feeling it's almost going to be like a Bad Trip sort of thing, like the Eric Andre movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where it's like part plot and like story, and
the part of it is him unscripted
nonsense. Or like what was it, not Bad Grandpa, what Dirty Grandpa, the one with Johnny Knoxville where
that was Bad Grandpa.
That was Bad Grandpa. Okay.
Bad Grandpa is Johnny Knoxville. Dirty Grandpa is
Robert De Niro.
And I almost said Dustin Hoffman.
God, what's his fucking name? Zac Efron.
Yes.
Yes. But the reason why we're talking about Nathan Fielder is because we watched a show called The
Rehearsal, which is, at the very least, it's a bad thing to do.
It
At
is
the
the.
very least, it's not normal what he did.
It is not. It is definitely not.
Is it very bad what he did?
I think messing with a child's mentality is
Yeah.
very, very bad, especially when. Oh my god, that poor kid. I nearly stopped watching that. That poor
That
kid.
kid thought Nathan was gonna be his dad.
Oh my god. Oh, that poor fucking kid.
Fucking
He was
Nathan.
playing an acting role, and he had to for those who haven't seen it, he was trying to test out like having a family or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
And so
it's a deranged show. It's a
it is a
deranged show.
very fucking deranged, and he hired a child actor to come in and be his kid for the show, and apparently the kid
And first
in
of all, there is no way of knowing how much of anything on this show is true. Some of it surely was. Some of it
it's
is
some
layers upon the way the whole show is presented will drive the viewer insane.
it is very much some Andy Kaufman shit. You
Yes.
cannot discern between the reality
It's
and
possible that the entire thing was fictional, as
it
far
is
as I'm
very,
concerned.
very possible. I don't and sometimes I wonder.
I didn't
But
mean to interrupt you, but yeah, he has this
no,
child
you're absolutely right.
actor.
No,
The reason I said that is because even like the child's mother is it's perfect. You know, it's a single mother.
mm,
You know, the kid is wondering where his dad is. It almost feels like Nathan wrote this story and then figured out how to make it happen. And that might even be worse. If
I,
this was
I,
his intention, was to find a woman with a kid with no father and then trick the kid into thinking that Nathan was going to be his dad.
that's the thing that
No matter what happened, it's insane. No matter what happened. No matter how real it was, something deranged happened.
something
Like
very
that's
fucked up
yeah,
happened in
something
this
very
that
bad happened.
that poor fucking kid.
Wacky shit.
And then yeah, it was very, very fucking bizarre. Oh yes, one of our
Cla-
most viewed episodes, which
oh really?
no, it's not. But
Klasky Supo is great.
I
What a
think
great
that
studio they were.
yes, fan fucking tastic. I've
All of the
always been a
stuff
fan
they
of
did was
theirs.
awesome. Yeah, they did
Mm.
crazy stuff, and
There was a show that I was thinking about that I watched the other day, and it blew me away that it was also a Klasky Supo. It's Chupo, excuse me, not Supo. Chupo.
Chupo, yeah.
Yeah, which was another thing we learned for that episode that
Because
I've been
we
under the
watched
impression.
every single. We
Mm,
watched like the 15 years of Klasky Chupo outtakes, where they eventually start saying it out loud.
right. And I remember we actually had to sit there with the ending credit, thing for the company, Klasky Chupo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
when we
yeah.
sat there and listened, because remember, I like again phonetically it sounded like Supo, like soup bowl, but without the WL. But yeah, we covered them and the ridiculous shows and their other properties. That was a lot of fun. It was really nice, kind of going down memory lane with a lot of those shows.
Yeah, I liked a lot of those when I was young.
Indeed. Oh, Garfield.
Uh, Garfield Beach. I mean, it's not like.
I would say
I guess it's bad. It's bad for the Earth that this has occurred, and
indeed.
just part is something that has happened.
And we never found out like where exactly these like
Oh no,
Garfields
we
came from.
do. There is a container. There was a shipping container down in a
Mm,
crevice in the ocean nearby,
okay.
with with a small crack in it that just every so often, fresh Garfield phones come floating up out of it. There's a
How
container full of Garfield phones
it's just a
out.
container full
Yeah,
of Garfield phones.
yeah.
I'm just thinking of like the uh
Well, really, this episode though, it was also Feet Beach, the beach where human feet wash up,
yes, we talked about that. Yeah, this was the beach
which is a
episode.
little worse.
I would say that would be in the very bad realm, yes. Feet Beach and
At Garfield Beach.
there's Garfield Beach. There was one other beach that we discussed. I think it was the Black
Those were
Man
the
Beach.
major. Well, I talked about a couple different beaches. The main weird ones were Feet and Garfield,
Yes.
but I talked about a bunch of them kind of to lead up to the Garfield and the Feet. Um, there was one that was all like broken bottles that get polished and wash up in a certain place.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and probably the black sand ones and a few other weird beaches, but the main weird beaches were Garfield Beach and Feet Beach.
So weird, man. Oh, oh
So I
yes,
mean,
my
I don't know. I don't think the feet are that weird because they're not. It's not really a mystery. It's generally people that are lost on fishing boats and
yeah,
boats that work around the upper Arctic or the lower Arctic or whatever, which is it's upsetting.
indeed.
But the feet have to end up somewhere, and that's where they end up on Feet Beach.
We can hitch a ride to Feet Beach. Um,
So, do you recall what Crimes of the Future was about?
it was a horrifying movie about body modification, like whole in the art of it, and kind of what people are willing to do for the extent of what they consider to be an art form, and
Yes,
kind of this sort of obsessiveness with said art form. And it was really like Cronenberg.
it
Oh
was
my god,
really Cronenberg. Yes, it was that.
it was very much Cronenberg.
It was
Holy
also
cow!
about it was also about the earth has become so toxic that certain people have begun unable to eat normal food at all, like Viggo
Mm,
Mortensen, and other people have begun to evolve, some through modification and some to just evolve, to eat plastic and other garbage. And
mm,
those people are being hunted down by the corporate government because the government doesn't want people to figure out they could eat garbage. Because once people start eating garbage, the government isn't going to be able to control them.
mm-hmm.
So
They have
there's
they have
also there's also a big theme of the future is people eating garbage, and
oh yeah.
you can unpack that any way you want.
People are eating garbage. They're um sewing
Tattooing internal
tattooing stuff
organs.
and putting in like silicone like body modifications like the Enigma. I don't know if you remember that guy from Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Is that the guy that's covered in like puzzle pieces?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, yeah, who forked his tongue and he did something to his genitals too. I don't remember what, but I know he did something.
Oh, did he like split his penis in half?
It was something like that. He probably he probably split the dog a little bit. Like have you ever
Who's
eh,
this lady?
uh
Oh,
oh my god.
I remember the Enigma. Yeah, he was on
Is
the
that
X
Kristen
Files.
Stewart?
Yes,
Oh
she's
yeah,
the best part of Crimes of the Future.
that's right. That's
Kristen
right.
Stewart is awesome.
What did she do? She licked the opening in his stomach or something like that.
Oh, she did. Oh my God, yeah. Another thing.
Oh yeah,
This movie,
the zipper
Viggo
for his
Mortensen has a
stomach.
zipper in his stomach. There's
Ugh.
just anyway. It's about people eating garbage and the corporate government hunting them down, so that they can maintain control over people who sew ears onto themselves. So I mean, honestly, this one might be on the edge. It's definitely mankind has failed, but
Mm-hmm. To just another room, I would say so too. And I almost said, "Oh yeah, Quiet's in this movie," but that's the wrong freaking Kojima game. No, it's
oh,
Fragile.
it's not. Yeah, it's fragile. I love her too.
I
This is
love.
a very good movie.
Very good movie, and she's fucking fantastic in it, and she's really fucking weird.
You notice where I placed the final card?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know who it is?
I know exactly who it is.
Do you think that that's the only item that I think is elevated beyond the thought that was weird tier breakdown?
Yeah. I did not expect that
I,
to transcend the
I do. I think that Kindred the Embrace transcends all of this earthly bullshit. I think Kindred the Embrace is one of the greatest things that was ever on TV. The most entertaining. Anyway,
It was so good though. I really enjoyed watching that with y'all. That was so funny.
I've watched it like 3 times this year for some reason.
Oh my
Maybe
god.
more. Maybe more. The whole thing. I've watched it a lot of times, so it must be very
It's
good.
so flippin' like it's so ham. It's like so
It's
lovingly ham.
incredible, but it is, and
It's
it's just, but
so
it's
good.
as a cultural artifact of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that hamminess, that over the top like stage
That
play
Melrose Place
drama.
Beverly Hills
Yes,
90210 bullshit.
exactly. Prime time soap opera, late '90s. Aaron Spelling, thank you,
Kindred,
my
we
dude.
embrace.
So if that's okay with you, that's the tier list.
That that
That's
was fan
season
fucking
2.
tastic. That was fantastic, bud. And that
There it
was
is.
and that was it was always as always excuse me, I'm getting a little hiccupy.
Yeah, me
Um
too. Yeah.
yeah, I need to go eat something. But yeah, dude, like last season was a hoot and a holler, and again, I can't thank you enough for making the tier list today, let alone just being involved in this nuttiness that that I just kind of have coming out my ass every single Tuesday. So
Whoa.
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
sincerely
man.
appreciate it, bud. Like and I'm really excited for this season too. We've got a lot of barn burners that I think are going to make it really interesting. Um, Including our dear friend that we've covered just now, Mr. Herbie Perlman. Mr. Perlman, if you are watching this evening, I certainly hope that. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you put the stream back up for one more second because it just it just threw us for a loop.
It just what happened?
Oh, wait, here, it's cool.
I can put it back up,
Yeah, if you
but I
could.
didn't.
Yeah, it just put us in
Oh, it
it made
changed
us
where
it made us
everyone was.
wonky.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me. Yeah.
It's all good.
Sorry. I'm
No
like, yeah. I'm
worries.
have. You know how it be. November, man. Is November just a shit? Is November just a motherfucker?
November's the worst. It's like
Okay.
right in that middle ground of it, like still having a little bit of like normal warm weather to just being freezing flipping cold.
Man,
Gesundheit.
God. Yeah, I'm having suddenly. Well, I mean, I've been sitting here smoking, but you
Yeah.
know how it be. You know how it be.
I do know how it be, just hacking up a lung after you ripping
Oh
dabs.
God, gotta
Or,
stop.
eh, why do that? That's not as fun. But but yeah, dude. Again, thank you very much. This has been so much fun. I appreciate you doing this for another year in a row. And and
the
and
top,
and
the top
withstanding
layer is white because he's ascending from this earthly realm into the realm of heaven.
um but yeah, man. So yeah, I'm gonna probably get to work this week on the new episode, and we'll start since we don't have Baguette here anymore, we're gonna have to figure out a new friend to
A
join us on our
sidekick,
misadventures.
yeah.
Yeah, which by the way, you out there, we'll probably have a 1-800 number and everything else, so you can call in. Each call costs $1.99 per vote, but it would be appreciated, and it also helps the show. We don't have an 800 number. What the fuck am I talking about?
You want to set that up
I think
and
that'd be
charge
fucking hilarious.
charge people $1?
Maybe we should have like an actual call-in episode. I need to figure out how to do that. I think a call-in episode would be fucking hilarious.
I got a Google number. I don't know how to
I don't know how to
tell
use that
people
either.
to call it. I mean, I know how to use Google Voice.
I have no
I
clue.
mean, those are possibilities. Yeah, I mean, let's
Yeah,
if we both get over our depression and bullshit,
yeah.
let's
We'll set
uh
that up and
let's
we'll get it
figure out
rolling.
some new fun things to do on the show. Yeah,
But
if that happens, yeah.
indeed. But
But
yeah,
sure, yeah, season 3. Let's do
season
it.
three, and season two is in the distance and looking towards the horizon towards season three.
All
But
right.
but thank you so much again, and yeah, we'll keep in touch for next week, and
Oh, yeah,
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 man.
yeah. And happy Thanksgiving and
Happy Thanksgiving to you too. You know, send love to the fam, all that jazz. Hopefully,
yeah,
you're,
man.
send mad good vibes to everybody.
Yeah, man.
And a happy Thanksgiving to you all out there. We certainly appreciate you watching. Uh, yeah. Again, this has been Thought That Was Weird. I'm Thrash Issue. That has been CuyaDK, and we appreciate the
Yep.
hell out of a lot of you. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time.